A living, breathing manifestation. That's not just her, that's the title of what she's going to talk. You want to use the hand mic or do you want the...
I think this will do fine. Okay, thank you. Hello, everyone. It's so great to be here. And I'm so blessed because I get to talk to you about something that I have never talked to anybody about, ever. And the reason I'm going to talk to you about it tonight is because you're all metaphysicians. And the reason I haven't talked to people that are not metaphysicians about this is because they would not understand. And I'm going to talk to you about my mentor, my spiritual teacher, and my friend, Dr. Paul Leon Masters. I knew him for 18 years, but I actually knew him longer than that. Let me explain. It was about 1997. I was church hopping in Las Vegas, Nevada. I was going through some stuff at work, and I was a single mom, and I was going through all the regular rigmarole. And I was church hopping, meaning that you go to a church, and you say, well, I believe that, I'll take a little bit of that. No, I don't think that. Yeah, I'll put that back. You do the smorgasbord type of church. And I saw in a magazine, it was advertising Dr. Masters. I saw his picture. It said University of Metaphysics Institute, blah, blah, blah. I said, oh, that sounds interesting. I'm going to go one day. And then I kept putting it off and church hopping and church hopping. Finally, I go with a friend of mine. It was a little church. It was not descript. It didn't have a cross or anything like that. It was almost like they were renting a space. They had some books for sale. I go in. I'm with a friend. We sit down. And Dr. Masters had a whiteboard, and he had markers, and he was teaching, not preaching. He was teaching something. And tears started running down my face because I felt like I was teaching to myself. That makes sense to you, because he wasn't telling me anything new. It was something I already knew. I needed to be reminded, but I hadn't heard it in a long time, and I certainly hadn't heard it in such detail that touched my heart. And it wasn't like he was teaching to me. It was like I was teaching to myself, and that I was him, and we are one, and it is God. And my friend didn't understand why I was crying. He didn't understand what Dr. Masters was talking about. He didn't want to come back the next week. And I was just floored because I felt like I was home. So then I kept going back, but I'm dangerously shy. Not right now. Right now I'm standing up here with a train, and if I had one more piece of jewelry, I'd tip over. But back then, I was painfully shy. And so after church, I would sneak out. Like, I didn't mingle with anybody. I got what I needed, and I'd kind of run to my car. I'd take a donut, then I'd run to my car. So I never met Dr. Masters then. I just was in awe of him up on the stage talking to my heart. So one day in prayer, we come out of meditation, because he always did a meditation in the beginning of the service. I came out of meditation and I heard an inner voice, and I should tell you this first. I'm a social worker. I work with abused and neglected children. Thank you. We have some abused and neglected children in the audience. But I'm a social worker, and so I'm coming out of this meditation, and I hear an inner voice saying, you're going to be a minister of a church. Now, you might as well have told me I was going to be a rodeo clown, because that was really foreign. That just came out of nowhere. And I just kind of, wow, where'd that come from? And I had not met Dr. Masters. I'd been going there for probably a couple of months, get my donut run to the car. One time, painfully shy, I'm eating a powdered donut. Dr. Masters comes up to me with his hand outstretched and says, hi, how are you? Powdered donut, white powder all over my mouth. all over my hand, and I'm supposed to shake this man's hand, and I want to make such a good impression. That wasn't the day. It's horrible. You know how you ruminate over things and you go, oh, that was so bad. So that's kind of what I did. Okay, now cut to, I'm a social worker. I'm wanting to put a lot of things that I'm teaching on tape about how to work with kids and blah, blah, blah. So I got a videographer. I get him to tape one of my lectures that I'm doing for probation officers. And the guy tells me, you know, you're good. You might as well be on the news being an expert on this, that, and the other, but you've got to cut out that spiritual stuff that you kind of talk about with the, you know, I know you kind of couch it and do this, but you got to leave that by the side. And you can be more marketable that way. So I'm in my kitchen at home, and I said, God, if I'm supposed to like cut out all the spiritual stuff and go on this side and just talk about psychology and all that kind of stuff without the spiritual content, then let me know. And if I'm not supposed to do that, then I need another direction. So I was kind of looking for another direction. Right when I said that, the phone rang. It was Dr. Paul Leon Masters. He said, I ran across your card, and I put my card in a bucket to help move chairs and help set up the place, like the work crew. He said, ran across your card. I want to meet with you at Marie Callender's, across the street from the church at blah, blah, blah time. I'm like, wow. He says, because I'd like for you to teach some classes. Okay, powdered donut, teach some classes. That doesn't make logical sense. That makes God sense, okay? Because you tell regular people that and you go, well, you must have met him before. No, I didn't. Powdered donut, teach classes. So we go to Marie Callender's, and he's basically talking about, yeah, I want you to do this and I want you to do that. And he's never seen me do anything. But keep in mind, this is the same guy that was talking. He was talking to me, but I was talking to myself because I heard it as one being within me. So now he's talking to me like he knows me and he knows my work and he knows what I can do because his heart is in my heart and we're working together as one. Now that doesn't make sense to regular people, but I'm talking to metaphysicians here. So I don't have to explain myself. Sometimes when you're talking to a regular person and you go into all this woohoo stuff, so I used to do this. I used to say, you're going to think I'm crazy, but I don't do that anymore. So all of this stuff is God sent. Let me tell you how we work together, because we went from doing classes, me doing classes at the church, to him telling me, I want you to run the church while I go to Sedona and do business. I want you to do the Wednesday night service every Wednesday night, and then on Sundays when I'm not in town, I want you to be the pastor. So then I'm thinking back to that voice that I heard when I came out of meditation. It says, you're going to be a minister of a church one day. And then I have this little card that says you're the co-pastor of University Institute. That doesn't make logical sense. That makes God sense. So let me tell you how Dr. Masters and I worked together. We were telepathic because we were one. We didn't have to have meetings about how he wanted the service to go, long drawn out meetings, because I'm not that type of person anyway. I knew how he worked, and he also knew how I worked. It was very, very telepathic. We were one unit. And that's hard to explain, it's hard to wrap your head around, but he saw in me what was already in me. And all I had to do was step into it. So what do we need to do? We need to see that light that's also within us. It has to start with us first. We see that light that's within us, and then we can see it in another person. when we see it in another person and we say, oh, how wonderful, how beautiful, how great you're going to be. I see what's in you. And then they begin to see it within themselves. We talked to each other, without words. I would finish his sentences, I would say his meditation, and we worked as a symbiotic oneness. And I have never had that relationship with any other human being. So his physicality is not here, but he is so here. He is so with us. He is so with me. And I see that spirit in these wonderful faces. So let me say to you what I felt from Dr. Masters. You are wonderful. You are precious. You are glorious. Oh, beloved, you are all that you need. You are all that there is. The love that is in everything, that holds everything together. I see it so much in you. Oh, how wonderful. Let me tell you that Dr. Masters and each one of you is a living, breathing manifestation of the divine. That's who you are. And when you know that's who you are, that's all you see. Thank you.